Morning, Hope Unitarian Church. It's good to see everybody this morning. I am so glad you're here, and it is obviously the summer, isn't it? Well, we're thankful for the summer, we're thankful for the winter, we're thankful for the sunshine, and also for the rain. I suspect someone sang a song about that at some point, but we're not going to do it today. I'd like to welcome y'all to Hope Unitarian Church. It's great to see you. I'm the Reverend Justin McCreary, and I'm excited you're here with us today. Unitarian Universalism is such an exciting faith. So exciting, in fact, that some members of the government just have stopped accepting that we are actually a faith in itself anyway. But don't worry, we are here. We're still together, and I'd like you to consider to lift up all our military chaplains serving in the military, as the Department of Defense has removed Unitarian Universalism from the, sort of recognized faiths connected to the military. But it's not just us, it's a lot of them. So, yeah. But don't worry, that doesn't mean we stop being who we are. And what is a Unitarian Universalist? A Unitarian Universalist is someone who says, you know what, we might believe differently about a lot of things, but I think we can still work together. That's who we are at our core. Sometimes we forget that, don't get me wrong, but that is who we are at our core. And I'm very excited to see you this morning. At our core, love is the power that holds us together. Above anything else, we choose love. And being rooted in love, we believe that all human beings should be treated with dignity. And in hope, we seek to transform ourselves and our world through community service and love. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are in your spiritual journey, and whatever your life circumstances, you are welcome here. At this time, I would invite you to rise and embody your spirit as you feel called, and we will sing our hymn of gathering. This month's chalice lighting was written by Lori Gorgas-Laban. It's called Living with Pride, and let's say it together. We light our chalice flame for those who live their lives in closets of shame, for those who furtively visited the bars where nobody knew your name, for the Stonewall riot and the fierce trans women who fought. We light our chalice flame for all these and for all of our siblings of the rainbow, surviving, living life out in the open with pride. You may be seated. Our invocation this morning is called One Love, written by Hope Johnson. We are one, a diverse group of proudly kindred spirits, here not by coincidence, but because we choose to journey together. Learning to love our neighbors, learning to love ourselves, apologizing and forgiving with humility, being forgiven through grace, creating the beloved community together. We are one. So let's say our covenant together. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to help one another. At this time, I would invite you again to rise and embody your spirit as we sing, We'll Build a Land, hymn number 121 in your hymnal. Before Jeff comes up or Clara comes up or someone comes up to do announcements, I want to make a request to the choir that we figure out how to make that phrase sisters and brothers a little bit more inclusive. Does that sound okay? Yeah. That's your homework. So let's work on that. That's a beautiful song and it can be more inclusive. You work on it. Thank you.
Good morning. My name's Jeff Dossett. I got a couple of announcements today. Next Sunday, the 14th, is Breakfast on the Hill. And so there was a sign-up sheet out there for any folks who were part of that to sign up to bring their stuff. And going to make a little change for Breakfast on the Hill. We're going to kind of take away the suggested donation, and it's going to be a $5 fee for Breakfast on the Hill, like it used to be, from what I understand. Children under 12 are free, and visitors are free. but we still want everybody to come to have a great breakfast on the hill. The other day, Thursday, Women of Hope was at my house. Clara hosted, and one of the lovely ladies left their nice dish. So if this belonged to somebody, ask Clara where her dish is. This month's generosity recipient is Jinx Food Bank, and we have a collection box out front where we're going to be taking donations for Jinx Food Banks. They'll take any type of canned good, grocery bags from Reesers, the Brahms grocery bags, t-shirt bags, egg cartons. They get a lot of eggs, whole cases of eggs. They need to separate them into dozens. So dozen egg cartons would be great. Upcoming local events. So I believe Tuesday, the 16th, is going to be our primary for Oklahoma. So make sure you get out and vote, especially yes for 832. Did I say that? I'm sorry.
As long as I don't say it, it's fine.
Okay, good. But that is the raising.
Say that. That's not a person.
That is
Yeah.
that's raising the minimum wage.
Yeah, let's raise the minimum wage, folks.
Very something that we need to support. Indivisible Tulsa County is having a meeting Thursday, June 25th at the Hardesty Library. They kind of align with everything we do here in this church, so I would think that would be something everybody would want to maybe go check out. And the last one I'll talk about is June 8th, this coming Tuesday at Tiamo. There's going to be a Good Trouble Tulsa monthly meeting, and their guest speaker is State Senator Joanne Dossett, no relation, and Jess Malloy of the Tulsa Voter Coalition. And so probably something good to go listen to.
I believe that's tomorrow.
Is that tomorrow? Monday, June 8th. Sorry, can't read. Monday, June 8th. And then we're going to have a concert here coming soon on June 28th with the Dave Sather Memorial Concert. So, Amy Cottingham Barton. That's all I've got. Thanks.
Good morning, everyone. Before I get started reading today, I'm going to introduce our new teacher in CYRE, Tay Martiz. The Magical Yet by Lorena. The art is by Lorena Alvarez Gomez. The words by Angela Di Terlizzi. There are days when your dreams haven't come true, or you're upset by the things you can't do. If you've lost or failed or cried just a bit, you're tired of waiting, ready to quit. Like that shiny new bike you couldn't ride, and it didn't matter how hard you tried. You couldn't pedal and you couldn't steer, and you couldn't get that bike into gear. Then, when you thought you were on the right track, you popped a wheelie and fell on your back. And now you won't ride. No way, not ever. No riding for you. You'll walk forever. Don't give up now. There's a major game changer, a most amazing thought rearranger. Someone to show you how good you can get. Now introducing the magical yet. With this yet magic, you can begin to see that you're going beyond where you've been. There are so many things that you've learned to do when you didn't know the yet was with you, like when you babbled before you could talk, or when you crawled before you could walk. Yet, a dreamer, a schemer, a hoper, a trier, a maker, a doer, a gotta fly higher. This yet finds a way, even when you don't, and yet knows you will when you think you won't. Like that shiny new bike that you couldn't ride, hop right back on with that yet by your side. Yet doesn't mind warm-ups, fixes, and flops, do-overs, redos, stumbles, and stops. Yet knows there's mistakes, some big and some small. With yet, you're sure to get over them all. Play the kazoo or pay the bassoon. Jam with the yet, and you'll soon be in tune. Try skateboarding tricks like the ollie hip flip. This yet can get to the championship. Tongue twisters twisted your tongue in a knot, yet says keep trying and practice a lot. Be patient, yet can't do it all overnight. Some things take days, months, or years to get right. But if you keep leaping, dreaming, wishing, waiting, learning, trying, missing, with the yet as your guide along the way, you'll do all the things you can't do today. Now you're bolder, braver, starting to see with yet you can get where you want to be. You finally did it, yet knew you could. You're not just riding, you're getting quite good. But don't stop now. You've got so much to do. The good news is this yet grows with you. So no matter how big or old you may get, you'll never outgrow. You'll never forget. You can always believe in the magic of yet.
The Magic of Yet. I've never heard that book. That's a neat idea. What does the magic of yet tell us? It tells us that we shouldn't give up just because we haven't figured it out yet. Correct? Is that what, did I get the story right, folks? Yep. Is there anything out there we're still working on, trying to do, that you haven't done yet, but you're going to? Let's reflect on that as we sing the kids out today.
Our reading today is titled A Protest and a Party by Hannah Roberts Villeneuve. People sometimes ask, is pride a protest or a party? And the answer, of course, is yes. And why not? Why not rejoice as we resist, dance as we demand change, celebrate as we create community that delights in all of who we are. So bring all of that with you this morning. Bring your policy demands. Bring your glitter. Bring your Supreme Court broken heart. Bring your rainbow socks. Bring the emptiness of you feel for our siblings gone too soon. Bring your Gloria Estefan remix. Bring your tender hope for change. Bring your most garish eyeshadow. Bring your spirit tattered and battered by a world that seems insistent on choosing fear and hate. Gather up all of these things and bring them here to a place where we don't have to shoulder these burdens or celebrate these joys alone. Come, let us worship together.
It's June, so you know what that means. It's the beginning of National Pride Month. In Tulsa, we celebrate in October too, mainly because it's much nicer to walk in a parade in October than it is in June. Of course, over the last few years, it's been quite hot in October itself. The question was brought up, when will we celebrate at Hope? Will we celebrate in June or October? Most of us agreed that we might as well celebrate in both. We celebrate with the nation in June and Tulsa in October, and the reality is we cannot say enough about LGBTQ pride. During Pride Month, we often sing a song called We Are a Gentle, Angry People, written by Holly Near in 1979 in the wake of the assassination of Harvey Milk and Mayor George Moscone. However, the beginnings of Pride, though very angry, were in no way gentle. The first Pride Week was celebrated in New York City in late June 1970. It was the first year of what became an annual commemoration of a series of riots that took place on June 28, 1969, following a police raid on the Stonewall Inn, a small gay bar in Greenwich Village in New York. At that time, it was illegal in New York City to wear clothes that didn't match your gender on your driver's license. Not to mention the fact that homosexuality was criminalized at the time. It was also a mournful night at the Stonewall Inn on June 28th, as it was the day after the death of Judy Garland, a staunch supporter of the LGBTQ community. So much so that in fact that in the 1950s and 60s and even into the 70s and 80s, gay men would identify themselves to each other as friends of Dorothy. And though her song, Somewhere Over the Rainbow, did not directly inspire the rainbow flag, its message of hope rang clear to the LGBTQ community both then and now. Garland frequented the gay bars, became an identifier for the community, and then an icon, and she had just died. The fact is that the people in Stonewall were already frustrated on June 28th for the loss of someone that gave them hope. At the time, police were terrorizing gay communities, raiding bars and dragging people out who were committing no harm, just because they were gay or dressed in drag. They would parade themselves on the streets, make them stand out there in the middle of the night, often cold, showering them with insults, dehumanizing them, doing their best to make sure they felt broken and ashamed. And on June 28th, following the death of their friend who was herself misunderstood, instead of letting themselves be broken or ashamed, they became proud. The story is told that a single brick was thrown and Greenwich Village erupted. Some say it was a performer and an activist, Marsha P. Johnson, who threw the brick. Others say it was a butch lesbian. I put it in quotes because that's what all the internet sites say. And there are still other stories of whom it might be, but like most riots, no one really knows who started it. But the brick became the inciting incident that would kick off social change. This became known as the Stonewall Riots. A year later, in commemoration of that day, there were marches in Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Chicago, but the largest was in Greenwich Village in New York City. In 1999, Bill Clinton would declare June Gay and Lesbian Pride Month, and in 2011, Barack Obama would name it LGBTQ Pride Month. In 2016, Barack Obama designated the Stonewall Inn as the first national monument in honor of the LGBTQ community. But in 2026, we don't like the word riot, do we? It makes us uncomfortable because it's often associated with the idea of violence against property or law enforcement. But there is a reason Martin Luther King Jr. referred to the riot as the language of the unheard, because when you take someone's voice away and they can no longer cry out against the indignity of a system that oppresses them, they erupt. Pride started with a riot, not a passive protest. It was a response to the vilification and demonization of a community. It was drag queens and trans kids who could no longer hide how fabulous they really were. It was not gentle, for a volcano is never gentle. It is the response to pressure building up over time, and it can only stay dormant for so long before bursting. We celebrate pride in a world that uses shame as a weapon. Pride in a world that wields faith like an axe. And pride in a world that needs a scapegoat so the rich and the powerful can stay rich and powerful. When we celebrate pride, we gather together at a life-giving river of such powerful love that hate cannot abide. Yet year after year, we do this while under attack. And in this culture, the most scapegoated and most attacked of the coterie are those who identify as transgender or non-binary. Even by the government itself. Currently, there are 793 anti-trans bills across 43 states. And of those at this time, 55 bills have passed and 70 have failed. The rest are still active. At the national level, there are 127 bills going through Congress. If you map the trend, the number of bills has been going up dramatically since 2021, and a total of 153 came before the state legislature in 2021 and 1,022 by 2025. The number has been increasing year after year. Right now in Oklahoma, we have the highest number in consideration across the country, 59. Of the 793, the largest grouping of bills cover education, what you are and are not allowed to say to students, are or are not allowed to have in libraries. And then 193, the very close second, involves health care, commonly known as gender-affirming care. All this energy toward less than 1% of the population. Transgender people are under attack in this country, and there are many reasons that should actually scare us. And I do mean scare. First, as people that articulate love to be their central value and define it through justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity, we should be beyond deeply offended. The attack on transgender people is an attack on our faith because we know through interdependence that we are connected to all the world's suffering, that their pain is our pain. But this attack on transgender people is not just an attack on our faith. It's not just an attack on them. It's an attack on American democracy. And the sad thing is the people in charge of wrecking the democracy don't care one way or another about trans people. They just know if they can rile up enough hate and marginalize the community, they will be able to weaponize the voting power of the proletariat. This attack did not begin with Donald Trump's first presidential address in this new term when he stated that in America there would now only be two genders. There have never, in anyone's time, only ever been two genders. But the attacks have always been there. But now these attacks come from a place of political power to the point that the FBI is now identifying pro-trans ideology as anti-American. I am reminded of this quote from Amara Jones from last year's General Assembly Ware lecture. She said this, people who wish to undermine society and understand that transphobia is in the water of our democracy without an administered antidote. That it is something that can easily be weaponized, not only by people who agree with them, but also by people who say they disagree with them. See, the sad thing is, hating people brings other people together and creates, as the idiom says, strange bedfellows. Jones would go on to point out that trans issues unify parts of the right with parts of the left. The trans issue has split radical feminism. Not in the middle, but it has split it. It has even divided people in the LGBTQ community, specifically in the lesbian and gay contingent. And like I said, not in the middle, but it even splits there, which disregards the reality that trans women, especially black trans women, were at the forefront of the gay liberation movement. The Stonewall Inn, which we link to Pride celebrations, was home to advocates like Marsha P. Johnson. The P, by the way, stood for Pay No Mind. A black trans advocate who didn't just participate at the organizational level of the GLF, the Gay Liberation Front. She helped feed and house many of the early LGBTQ community in Star House that lived on the street in New York. The fact is, there is no pride celebration without transgender people. They've been here the whole time. But it says something more about authoritarianism. We learned a lot from the rise and fall of Nazi Germany, but one of the lessons I think we ignore is that prior to Hitler's rise to power, Berlin was on the forefront of gender-affirming care. But remember, we like to go to the Nazis right away when we talk about isolation and when we talk about authoritarianism, but that's not the only place that authoritarianism in the rise of trans hate falls. Whether it's in South Sulawesi in Indonesia, Russia, Hungary, Nicaragua, Uganda, or Brazil, trans people become the first casualties in the war against nationalism. And the sad fact is that the majority of people will never know that because the majority of people just don't give a damn. And folks, that is exactly where we are now. It is, as trans activist Imara Jones points out, there is no way to save democracy without standing up for trans rights. There is now a debate in the international community as to whether government-sanctioned violence against trans people even constitutes genocide. The Lemkin Institute for Genocide Prevention and Human Security goes as far as to say that the United States is in early stages of genocide against trans people. Now, I understand that that statement might bring on some feelings, and even people in the LGBTQ community, some of whom reject that idea. But for the crowd that disagrees with whether or not we're in the beginning stages of a genocide, I think we're asking the wrong question. As a people who study history, we know that the United States of America is very capable of committing genocide. It's part of our heritage. And if you don't believe me, ask the people living on native lands that seem to get smaller and smaller and lose more and more authority every year. Ask the survivors who lost over 1,200 homes in one night during the Tulsa Race Massacre. Dehumanization can go a long way towards making it okay to let certain people die. But let's look at the trends of these anti-trans bills I referenced earlier. There are so many of them. There is so much energy put into this movement that and that is energy that is being focused on less than 1% of the population, which tells me that the focus is not on that 1% of the population. It doesn't make sense that they put that much energy into 1% of the population unless they're playing at something bigger. What it sounds like to me is that they're making an argument over the long term that sounds like it just begins with some limitation in protecting the children to ending with criminalized identity. And it wouldn't be the first time we've criminalized identity here in the States. Consider this communication leak from the White House. Our nation's counterterrorism strategy will prioritize identifying and neutralizing violent groups whose ideology is described as radically pro-transgender. Anyone else here radically pro-transgender? Raise your hand if you're pro-transgender. All right. And we must ask the question, if we allow them to do this to trans people, who else will we allow this to let them do to until they finally do it to us as well? When we consider the list of medical organizations and the science that supports gender-affirming care, the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Medical Association, the American Psychiatric Association, the American Psychological Association, and the Endocrine Society, and that the organizations that do not support gender-affirming care are generally organizations that were created specifically to oppose gender-affirming care. And they're often supported by religious organizations like the Heritage Foundation. And the reality of the situation is that whether you want to call this an early sign of genocide or not, the fact is transgender youth are at a higher risk of suicide, not because they're transgender, but because of the stigma and the lack of access to gender-affirming health care. The fact is, the stress related to dealing with a culture so intent on demonizing you or anyone at that level, at this amount of energy, is akin to abuse. Queer poet Andrea Gibson says it this way, and I can't imitate her tone, so I'm just going to give you the words. She says, queer youth are 5 times more likely to die by suicide means you lived 5 times harder than you should have had to still have a body when you graduated high school. Means hate worked 5 times harder to make your spirit its wishbone. Means when your mother asked what was wrong, you were 5 times more likely to believe you'd lose her if you spoke the truth. Means if you were told 5 times more often you'd go to hell when you died. And it means burning for eternity seems 5 times more doable than another day in the school lunchroom. No child should ever have to wonder if they deserve to be loved. Yet this is the reality in our world, in our country, in our state, and in the city we live in. Remember why we celebrate pride, because pride is the opposite of shame. As allies, we must stand against the waves of normalized abuse lobbied against the community, the LGBTQ community, especially that of transgender and non-binary people. Here's the thing. Being white has its privileges. Being straight has its privileges. Being cisgendered, meaning your gender identity aligns with the sex you were assigned at birth, has its privileges. And if we don't use our privilege to help those who struggle just to be accepted for who they are, can we truly say we are centering love as a people? Many of us in this room were born with privilege, and it isn't our fault. It wasn't our decision, but we did and we do benefit from it. And that means we have a responsibility too. We were born with responsibility. We were born with this responsibility until the day that pride is more than just a month, but a mindset for the entire world. Until every child born is a child loved. Until every person, regardless of identity, is accepted, regardless of and for who they are. And until the labels are just no longer necessary for us to understand one another. That we don't have to argue about pronouns. That I don't need to know what your background sexual history is. Until that time when people in the LGBTQ community don't have to depend on home places like the Equality Center for Safety. We have a responsibility to find them safety. We are not done. No marginalized community needs to fight alone when there are Unitarian Universalists there to fight alongside them with their leadership. Our transgender family and friends are in trouble, so the question is not whether or not this is a genocide. The question is, how can we make sure it never is? Pride is the opposite of shame. How do we go into the world today and help people who struggle with that feel that pride, know that they can claim that pride? How do we let them know we are safe? More than just hanging a rainbow, but living the values of Unitarian Universalism, living in such a way that when people look at us, they think of us as safe people. There was a reason my wife and I knew which kids that my kids went to school with were gay before their parents did. I'm sure that that's happened with some of you too. How can we make sure people know that we are safe? Which begs the question, are we safe? As I said, the question as to whether or not this is genocide is the wrong question. The fact is, trans kids die at 5 times the rate of other kids. They die at a higher rate than anyone else in the LGBTQ community. They die not just from the people who assault them or do them harm. They die from suicide. They die from believing that no one is ever going to love them. How do we embrace radical love in such a way that they know that they are loved? How can we make sure that they decide life is worth it? What can we do? Thanks for listening. At Hope, we have a generosity recipient every month. In that generosity recipient, we'll take we take up donations for them during this time. If you would like to donate directly to them, you can make a check out to Hope Unitarian Church, or you can write generosity in the memo line, or you can just put cash in the basket, and that will do it. This is also an appropriate time to pay your pledge. You just donate to the operating fund. Please give as we try to build hope for the future. Let's give our offertory response. We build on foundations we did not lay. We warm ourselves at the fires we did not light. We sit in the shade of trees we did not plant. We drink from wells we did not dig. We profit from persons we did not know. We are ever bound in community. At this time, we'll sing our final hymn, which is hymn number 1026 in the teal hymnal, If Every Woman in the World. So I would invite you, everybody, to rise and sing hymn number 1026. Let's extinguish the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fires. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Remember, pride is a party and a protest. So let's go out there and do both.